Aisha's 13 years old this year. She loved sitting by the window of her family's old wooden house where the golden afternoon sunlight filtered through the thin curtains and fell upon the pure white pages of her sketchbook. A gentle breeze carried the scent of wildflowers from the garden behind. The house mingled with the faint, earthy smell of the soil after the rain. She often drew wildflowers bravely reaching upward, fluffy white clouds drifting across the deep blue sky, and dreamed of the day she would become a teacher who taught children how to paint. The soft strokes of her pencil seemed to tell a peaceful story. Her mother, with a gentle hijab softly framing her kind face, would often stroke her daughter's hair and whisper, "My daughter is like the light of faith. No matter how dark the sky becomes, you will always find a way to shine because of Allah. Be patient, Sabr, my love, and be grateful, Shukr, for everything He has given you." Aisha's life had once been peaceful and filled with love. Early in the morning, when the birds sang, echoing through the garden, she would wake up to pray with her mother and her little brother Haytham. Afterward, she helped her mother prepare meals, and the familiar aroma of spices would spread throughout the wooden kitchen. Then she would sit and draw in the warm corner of the house. Her little brother Haytham would toddle over on his short legs, his childish voice calling, "Out, sister, draw me a bird flying high or a cute little house with a red-tiled roof." In the afternoons, the whole family would gather around their father, listening to him tell stories about the prophets in his warm, melodic voice. At those moments, Aisha's heart felt warmed by a gentle, extraordinary flame. Then things gradually began to change. Her family had to leave their home in a hurry, filled with anxiety. Aisha clutched her worn sketchbook tightly and the cloth doll that her late grandmother had sewn for her. She stood at the door of the house for the last time, looking back at the familiar room where she had once knelt to pray under the flickering light of an oil lamp. Silent tears rolled down her cheeks, hot and salty. "Dear house, I promise I will come back," Aisha whispered, her voice trembling. But deep in her heart, she knew that some promises could only be kept silently within and entrusted to Allah. She whispered a short prayer, "Ya Allah, please protect my family on this journey." In that moment, a powerful wave of longing for her father suddenly surged within her. Since the day they had to leave home, she had not received any news about her father. She worried about where he was, whether he was safe amid the unstable days, and whether her family would ever have the chance to reunite again in joyful laughter as before. That worry felt like a silent wound in her heart. The evacuation journey began. The long road stretched endlessly under the harsh sunlight of the day and sudden rains at night. Aisha's feet were sore and weary. The dusty wind whipped against her face, carrying the smell of red earth, but she tried not to complain. Every step was heavy with memories, the sound of Haytham's bright laughter, the familiar aroma of her mother's cooking with its comforting spices, the corner of the garden where she used to sit and draw, under the shade of the trees, the peaceful afternoons when she performed salah in the house, and especially the deep longing for her father, the warm, melodic voice with which he told stories every evening. Sometimes along the way, she would curl up under an old tree, hugging her sketchbook to her chest and crying quietly. "Ya Allah, I am so sad," Aisha wrote in her notebook with trembling letters. "I miss home so much. I miss father terribly. I worry about father. I worry that Haytham will be tired and sad, and I don't know how long these difficult days will last. I don't want to lose anyone else. Please give me strength to be patient. I will try to be strong for my family." Her mother would often hold her daughter's hand tightly on those dusty roads, her gentle voice reminding her, "My child, Sabr is the key that opens every door. Allah does not burden us with more than we can bear. Be grateful for what we still have, like your little brother's hand, holding yours tightly like the warmth of your mother's breath beside you." Those words were like a lantern lighting Aisha's path through the long, tiring days, even though the worry for her father continued to ache quietly in her heart. One drizzly afternoon, while the group of people was resting by the roadside, Aisha met Fatimah, a 14-year-old girl who was a little taller than her, with a warm voice and a gentle smile despite her tired red eyes. Fatimah wore a simple hijab and always tried to stay calm like an older sister. Fatimah gently took Aisha's hand and whispered like a soft breeze once my grandmother told me that no matter how far we go, the light of faith in our hearts is always there. We just need to be patient and never let it go out. Shall we pray together? The two girls quickly became close friends. They shared the few pieces of dry, crisp bread and some sweet dates that their mothers had brought. They whispered short prayers together during rest stops, sang children's songs full of gratitude to Allah, with trembling but hopeful voices, and shielded each other with a thin cloth when the rain fell heavily. In the most exhausting moments, Fatimah would often whisper into Aisha's ear, "We are not alone, Aisha. No matter how long the road is, we have each other, and Allah is always with us, watching over every step we take." Aisha felt a little warmth seeping into her cold heart. She began drawing pictures for Fatimah, a wildflower bravely blooming in the middle of the red dirt road with raindrops sparkling like tiny sparks of hope. "This is our hope," Aisha said softly. Fatimah smiled, her eyes glistening. "You draw so beautifully. One day, insha'Allah, we will paint many pictures together in a peaceful place and tell the children about Sabr and Shukr." On some nights, lying under the sparkling, twinkling starry sky, Aisha thought about her old home and about her father. The deep longing made her throat tighten and silent tears fell. She worried whether her father was safe, whether little Haytham would grow up amid all these hardships and shortages, and when those days of instability would finally end so her family could reunite. She quietly knelt and prayed, asking Allah to grant her patience and to protect her father. But then she would see Fatimah sleeping peacefully beside her, her hand still holding hers tightly. Aisha told herself in her heart, "I am no longer the timid little girl. I have a friend, I have faith, and I have the strength to keep walking for Mother and Haytham." When the group finally reached the temporary shelter, a small village beside a gently flowing river, Aisha saw everyone trying to rebuild their lives with makeshift tents made of cloth and bamboo. She joined in to help drawing pictures and telling stories to the younger children about gratitude and hope, sharing the words of encouragement that Fatimah had taught her. Even though her hands still trembled from the cold, even though her heart still ached from time to time with homesickness and worry for her father, Aisha still smiled gently and whispered Alhamdulillah whenever there was a small moment of peace, like a warm meal or the bright laughter of her little brother. One morning, her mother found a way to receive a letter from distant relatives. In the letter were warm words. "Mother is proud of you. My daughter is growing up day by day with Sabr and hope in Allah." Aisha read it over and over again, tears falling, but this time they were tears of hope and deep gratitude. Even so, she still prayed silently for her father every night, hoping that one day she would receive joyful news about her beloved family member. Time passed in the temporary village by the river. The river flowed slowly, carrying the whispers of the wind and the rustling of leaves. Aisha helped her mother set up the tent. Her hands became calloused from hard work, but every time she saw her little brother smiling brightly while sleeping on the old blanket, her heart filled with warmth. She often sat alone by the riverbank in the late afternoon, holding her sketchbook, drawing faint lines of the old house of her father and whispering quiet prayers. "I still miss Mother's flower garden," Aisha wrote in her diary, with increasingly steady handwriting. "I miss Father so much, I miss the stories he used to tell. I worry about Haytham, and I don't know when these days away from home will end. But I've also realized that here there are many other wildflowers blooming brightly. Perhaps peace is not about returning to the old place, but about finding a new place where our hearts can sprout and grow green under Allah's protection." Fatimah remained by her side like a real older sister. The two girls became solid pillars of support for each other. They would sit together by a small, warm fire in the evenings, sharing their dreams for The future Fatimah wanted to help children, perhaps as a nurse or a teacher, while Aisha shared her dream of becoming an art teacher to spread hope through every colourful stroke. Fatimah would gently remind her, remember the story of Prophet Ayub, no matter how difficult things become, Sabr still brings sweet rewards from Allah. A sudden heavy rainstorm arrived without warning. The river rose high and many tents were flooded. Aisha and Fatimah ran around together, helping people move their belongings to higher ground. Aisha carried a small child in her arms, walking while softly singing a lullaby with a trembling voice and whispering prayers for safety. Even though she was exhausted and soaked by the rain, Aisha felt her heart stronger than ever before. I am no longer the little girl who only cried because she lost her home, Aisha thought to herself. I am learning to become part of the shared hope with Sabr and human kindness. Even though I still worry about father and don't know when the day of reunion will come. When the rain stopped, the sun peeked out from behind the heavy grey clouds, casting golden rays onto the earth. Aisha stood by the riverbank, watching the water gradually become clear again. She took out a small piece of paper from her pocket, the last drawing she had made of the old house, and gently let it float away with the river current like a loving and grateful farewell. Dear old house, thank you for nurturing me. Now I will draw a new house, a house inside my heart, inside the hearts of my family and friends with the light from Allah. Time continued to pass. News from afar brought word that the situation was gradually stabilizing. Aisha's family received a letter from relatives saying that a new land was waiting for them to build a new life. Aisha hugged her sketchbook tightly to her chest, her heart full of hope mixed with anxiety. Fatimah held her hand and said warmly, "We will go together, right? Even if the road is still long as we have each other, and faith, we have everything, insha'Allah." Aisha nodded, silent tears falling, but a smile had already bloomed on her lips. Yes, sister. I am no longer afraid, because I know the light in my heart has never gone out. Even though I still miss father and worry about the day peace will return, the journey continued to the new land. Aisha helped the younger children by telling cheerful stories, drawing simple pictures on the ground with twigs, and reminding everyone about gratitude. When they arrived a wide area with temporary houses made of bamboo and leaves, she stood looking into the distance, feeling the wind carrying the fresh scent of grass and the cheerful chirping of birds. Together with Fatimah, she planted a few wildflower seeds along the path. This will be our little garden where we plant the seeds of hope. On the first evening, Aisha sat by the crackling fire, opened her sketchbook, and drew a new house with a garden full of vibrant flowers, the figures of her family and friends laughing together, and the silhouette of her father, whom she still longed for every day. Tears fell from her eyes, not from sadness but from a sense of release and overwhelming gratitude. Time in the new land passed peacefully. The makeshift tents gradually gave way to sturdier houses. Aisha woke up early to pray. As the dawn broke, helped her mother tend the lush green vegetable garden, taught her little brother to recognize every leaf on the trees, and spent the afternoon sitting and drawing under the cool shade of the trees. The new sketchbook she received from kind people became her close companion. She drew everything: the slow-flowing river of the old village, Fatimah's radiant smile, the resilient wildflowers, the unfamiliar faces she had met, and her dreams of the day she would see her father again. Her mother looked at her daughter with eyes shining with pride. "My daughter has truly grown up. From the little girl who cried because she missed home, you have now learned how to bring the light of faith to others through every stroke of your drawings and every word you speak." Fatimah and Aisha often organized warm storytelling and drawing sessions for the children in the village. The children would sit in a circle around the small fire, listening to the two girls talk about patience and gratitude, then drawing their own dreams with bright colors. The sound of children's laughter echoed, making the new village lively and full of life. One gentle afternoon, Fatimah pulled Aisha to the riverbank. They sat in silence, holding hands, gazing at the calm, flowing water. Aisha took out the small drawing she had just finished, a picture of the two girls standing together in front, of the village with its flower garden and clear blue sky, and gave it to Fatimah. "This is my gift to you. No matter where we go in the future, please remember that we kept this light together." Fatimah hugged her friend tightly, tears of emotion rolling down her cheeks. "Thank you. I will keep it forever, and I will keep our friendship forever." Even though the longing for the old home and the worry for her father still came back in the quiet late nights Aisha had learned to embrace it gently through prayer. She wrote in her diary, "Today I thank Allah for this journey. I lost many things I miss Father terribly. I worry about Haytham, and I still don't know when the days of peace will return. But I have gained so much more, a stronger heart, wonderful friends, and the faith that the light of faith in each of our hearts has the power to light the way for one another." The rainy season passed, and the new land was dressed in vibrant, fresh green. Joyful news arrived. A small school would soon be built by many helping hands. Aisha read the letter from her relatives, tears of joy streaming down her face. She ran to hug Fatimah tightly. "Sister, we will have a place to study and teach. I will teach drawing and you will tell stories. We are truly building peace, insha'Allah." That evening, Aisha sat beside her mother under the warm firelight, hugging her sketchbook to her chest. She whispered, "Mother, I have been through a long journey. I lost the old house, I still miss Father, and worry about my loved ones, but I have found a new home. Inside my heart, a home built with love, friendship, Sabr Shukr, and hope that will never be extinguished. I promise I will continue to be strong and spread this light to even more people." Aisha looked up at the night sky full of twinkling stars. She smiled a mature, gentle, and resilient smile. The journey of the 13-year-old girl continued like the calm river flowing through the new land, carrying old memories, worries for her loved ones, precious lessons of faith, and a future full of bright, radiant hope. Aisha's story serves as a gentle and profound reminder, even when we must leave home and carry worries for our beloved ones. The light within hearts that pray remain patient, and love can never be extinguished. It will continue to shine and light the way for many others.